Hey YouTubers, don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell over by the subscriber button to notify you every single time I upload. Enjoy the video. Hey YouTubers, welcome back to another Dragon Ball Super discussion video. Today we're going to be talking about whether or not all of the people in Universe 7 or Universe 6 are actually going to be getting some kind of transformation, and I'm really not talking about everyone. Obviously, we can't cover everyone in this particular video, but we're going to be talking about the main people here. And of course, I'm talking about Goku. Obviously, we've already seen Goku get his Ultra Instinct Limit Breaker form that we've already been talking about for weeks on end. The special was awesome, but honestly, with half the tournament still left, we have so much more room to grow and explore other characters, their transformations, their abilities, and actually see them get to fight people like Toppo and Jiren and Dispo and even each other. So it's really going to be really exciting to see how this all shakes up. So before we get to episode 112 this next weekend, I really wanted to do this video and ask your guys' opinion about whether you think the Saiyans of Universe 7, the Saiyans of Universe 6, the Namekians, Frieza, even anyone who's really left that we know can potentially make some kind of an impact throughout this entire tournament, whether or not they're actually going to be getting some kind of transformation or showing some kind of awesome move sometime during this particular tournament. So I feel like it's really important to talk about, at least at the beginning, one of the things this tournament has been doing, and I think it's really interesting, is we have Goku, Caulifla, and Kale. Now, of course, those are 3 of the 6 Saiyans that we actually got to see or we know are in the Tournament of Power. But we know that these 3 people actually have achieved some form of transformation that they didn't actually have before. Of course, with Goku, it's more of a technique with the Ultra Instinct. Kale got the Berserker mode, which was basically the Broly character that we are all anticipating from the promotional imagery and the trailers before this tournament even really began. And of course, we got to see Caulifla just storm past Super Saiyan 1 in order to get to Super Saiyan 2, and we also got a hint of Goku saying that she could potentially get Super Saiyan 3 during this particular fight. In fact, when they were done fighting the Pride Troopers, she even stopped Goku and asked him if he was actually going to take her and Kale out of the particular tournament. He said, "No, I'll fight you later," and I've definitely been kind of interested in that particular line, considering the fact that they were really wiped out. And I know that there's 24 minutes left, but how much stronger and or resting can they do in that little amount of time in order to actually put them on par with something that Goku would want to actually fight in the near future of Dragon Ball Super, considering the fact that if they lose, their tournament's going to get wiped out. Does Goku have a plan there? I'm not necessarily sure. I'm just going to take it at face value and say that, yeah, he probably doesn't necessarily know what he's doing, but he did allude to Caulifla getting Super Saiyan 3. Obviously, Berserk has an immense amount of power that we haven't even seen the barrier to. And then we also have Kaba, who, as I've mentioned before in some of my videos, he definitely seems to be hiding something, or at least really overconfident about his power, considering his, I guess, performance in the very last tournament going up against Vegeta. It was really weird that the very first time we see him make any real impact in this particular tournament is actually going and challenging Vegeta upright. And it's weird to imagine that Kaba would have believed that he had grown enough as a fighter to actually beat who he considers his master. Of course, with episode 112, we're going to be able to see them actually interact, and I can't wait for that. But honestly, I'm not necessarily sure how much power, if not, Kaba is actually hiding, and whether or not he's actually going to be really important to this particular tournament, I can only cross my fingers and really hope. Personally, I really feel like Kaba and Caulifla and Kale, considering the fact that we have the 3 Universe 6 Saiyans and the 3 Universe 7 Saiyans, I feel like all these people are going to come together to potentially, if things get too bad, honestly, if they end up having to work together, which we've kind of seen with Goku fighting with Hit against Dispo, but if they all end up deciding that they need to work together in order to give their power to someone else, then we might be able to see a Super Saiyan God ritual, at least at some point during this tournament, whether it's to beat Toppo or Hit or Dispo or someone else like that. The only problem with that is, unlike the Battle of Gods movie, the Battle of Gods arc of Dragon Ball Super really did a lot to nerf people like Gohan and Goten and Trunks and everyone who was a part of that particular transformation. So it is a little on the nose to sit there and think like they're going to nerf some of the characters in order to give like just one a big power up. But if Kaba, Caulifla, and Kale, maybe even Vegeta, are already kind of out of the tournament, at least at that point, they're not necessarily performing as best as they could, or maybe their best moments are behind them, then maybe that's fine to just kind of allow them to give up all their energy to someone like Goku or Gohan or something else like that, and we get to see some kind of transformation. It would be really cool for Gohan, considering we don't necessarily have Gohan in his Super Saiyan God form yet. I'm not necessarily sure if we're ever going to get that, but I do want to kind of focus on Gohan a little bit, just talking about him, saying that when it comes to him, honestly, I feel like considering the fact that they've been really promoting him a lot during this particular tournament, they've been kind of alluding to him either getting a new form, getting back in fighting shape, showing that he has all of these connections or at least visual similarities to the way that Jiren is. They're just kind of building up this fight, at least in my opinion. And obviously we all know that Gohan cannot take on someone like Jiren without having some kind of transformation or power up that's going to put him on Jiren's level, whether that's Ultra Instinct, whether that's some kind of Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan White. I mean, who really knows? Obviously with Dragon Ball Super, it's just honestly week to week one-upping itself, and we're just all kind of along for the ride. Who would have ever really thought that Ultra Instinct was the thing that Whis was talking about a couple of arcs back, and now we actually get to see how that actually looks in action, and holy crap, that was so awesome. At the same time, it's also possible that maybe they're just kind of building up Gohan, and he's going to be a little bit of moral support, maybe even a way for Goku to actually get his Ultra Instinct form back again to fight Jiren. We're not necessarily sure, but like I said, they have been kind of promoting him a whole lot these days, and potentially he'll be very important to the end of this particular tournament. We're not necessarily sure. He hasn't had any real time to shine. With that being said, Goku's had a little bit of time to shine. Even Vegeta's had a little bit of time to shine. But let's talk about Vegeta real quick. Honestly, I'm not necessarily expecting a transformation from someone like Vegeta. Honestly, I would really like to see, considering the fact that they brought the Super Saiyan God form back for Goku when he was helping Hit fight Dispo, it'd actually be really cool to show Vegeta actually fighting someone like Jiren or Topo or someone else in the red form. I mean, obviously, it's just promoting, it's allowing them to sell video games and toys and merchandise and all this other stuff. It'd be great to have Vegeta have a new form. Of course, they've already done this in the manga, so it wouldn't be stretching way too hard. And I honestly think that they brought Super Saiyan God back for a particular reason. They didn't necessarily need to bring it because it's added almost nothing to this particular arc. So maybe bringing it back just to kind of show Vegeta actually in that form, I think would be pretty awesome. It would kind of add to his repertoire of actually transforming and kind of at least allow us to understand how he got the form in the first place, and allow us to know that he's not necessarily behind Goku in any way, shape, or form, at least when it doesn't come to the Ultra Instinct or maybe even the Kaioken. But at least in terms of those first transformations, this wasn't something he skipped over like Super Saiyan 3 to get to Super Saiyan 4 back in GT. He has the red form, he has the blue form, and we can kind of go from there. It would be really awesome in my opinion. But with Goku, honestly, I feel like, and I know a lot of people also feel like, when you have him with his shirt off, potentially or seemingly in his Ultra Instinct form, we know he's going to figure out a way to get it back. We're not necessarily sure yet. And whether or not he can add things to that, as I've said before, it's just a technique. And certain things like Super Saiyan or Kaioken or just other techniques, it would be really kind of cool to see him kind of mix and match it in order to get stronger to actually even beat Jiren. I'm really hoping for something like that, but obviously I'm not necessarily a great power scaler or someone who understands these techniques amazingly. I really meant it for the story, the fandom, the speculations, and everything else like that. So don't take my word on that. I just really kind of like the idea of Ultra Instinct Super Saiyan or Ultra Instinct Kaioken times 20 or something else like that. It would be really freaking awesome just to see Goku really take it to Jiren and being able to do that. But considering the fight that we got between Goku and Jiren in that particular episode, it really looks like he more so improves or Zenkais or something where he's learning, or his body is just reacting as it learns how Jiren moves, and he moves faster and faster until he can actually beat Jiren. I feel like that's what that form is going to be, and I'm actually really fine with it, but I really hope they find a way to really bring it back in a very interesting way. Of course, at the same time, I want to talk a little bit about Piccolo. I've said this before. Honestly, I'm not necessarily sure why they decided to bring in not one but two Namekians in the Tournament of Power. Obviously, we got to see in episode 111, those two Namekians got to fight Gohan and Piccolo as they were going after Goku. And one of the things I did notice there is that they did kind of acknowledge someone like Piccolo as being a Namekian. And we do know that Namekians have a fusion technique that allows them to have an amazing amount of power boost. Considering the fact that Piccolo was not even able to beat someone like Nappa, and then he was fighting Frieza second form over 1,000,000 power level, only ever having fused with Nail. Personally, that type of fusion would be really awesome to see someone like Piccolo fuse with these two Namekians and get a power boost or a power up strong enough to put him on par with someone like Dispo or at least Topo and see an epic fight between them. I would really like to see that. And of course we have Frieza in his true golden Frieza form, and we're not necessarily sure how much he's holding back, whether it's just a technique or whether it's all of his immense power. Obviously we've only seen him turn golden twice in this particular arc. One was to take out all of those assassins who were just basically cannon fodder, and then the other time was basically just to put on a show in order to make it look like he was beating up Gohan a couple episodes back. Both times he hasn't necessarily shown anyone exactly how strong he is, so we're still kind of just trying to decide how strong he is, what he's actually hiding. Personally, I feel like with Vegeta, even though they can give Vegeta that consolation prize of having the red form, I personally think someone like Frieza and someone like Vegeta really need some amazing, awesome techniques, whether they're using it in tandem, which I think would be pretty interesting, kind of forcing them to use their techniques and a power with each other instead of against each other for once, I think would be awesome, and a lot of fans would really freak out. But I really feel like Vegeta and Frieza will have an amazing technique, while we have Goku potentially getting the Ultra Instinct form back again. Gohan potentially getting a new form, but I'm not necessarily sure if they would actually do something like that, considering we just got something from Goku, but they have been really hinting at it. And obviously if Gohan's going to be any threat to someone like Topo or Dispo or Jiren or any of the other people who we know are incredibly strong in this particular tournament, he's going to need some amazing major power-ups. We've seen Gohan throughout this entire series get so many awesome rage boosts, but it would be really interesting to hark back to what Piccolo was telling him at the very beginning of this arc and saying you can't power up simply through rage because you don't necessarily grasp onto the full amount of your power. And I would really like to see them play that off sometime during this arc, and I'm fingers crossed, guys. But with that being said, you also have Caulifla and Kale. They've already gotten their transformations. It's fine. It would be kind of cool to see Caulifla get Super Saiyan 3 just because they hinted at it, but that might have just been a little inside joke. Obviously we didn't see Goku go Super Saiyan 3 as he was testing out Jiren's abilities. It was basically just Kamehameha, base form, Super Saiyan, Super Saiyan 2, Super Saiyan God. He completely skipped Super Saiyan 3, which was weird considering the fact that he went Super Saiyan 3 against Trunks when he really could have gone Super Saiyan God or something else just to kind of show off his power. And then you also have Kaba, which I also think that they gave so much time to at the very beginning of this arc, and he hasn't necessarily done anything. It makes me wonder, or at least imagine, that he might be important later on, whether that's with a new transformation, maybe he's hiding a technique, maybe he's hiding something like Super Saiyan God or Super Saiyan Blue. We're not necessarily sure. So much time has passed since the last tournament that it's possible that he's been kind of holding back and not necessarily wanting to show off his true power at this point, but we're just going to have to keep speculating on that. And of course we also have, like I said, Piccolo infusing with the Namekians. I think that would be kind of cool, an amazing power up for him and make him relevant again. Of course, guys, these are all just speculations, just a kind of general discussion about every character I think who could either be showing power later on down the line, a transformation down on the line, or some kind of amazing technique that we've never seen before. And Dragon Ball Super, just a lot of stuff to get excited for here, guys. So please remember to leave your thoughts and suggestions, your speculations, your theories in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell over by the subscriber button, because that's going to notify you every single time I upload. But with that being said, guys, I hope everyone has a good day. It's been real. Hey YouTubers, if you guys like movies, television, and box office numbers, then make sure to go check out my second channel where I discuss all of that stuff in gruesome detail, especially since we cover a whole lot of horror movie stuff over there and a lot of horror shows and everything else like that. So guys, if you want to hear more of my discussion topics that's not necessarily Dragon Ball related, then make sure to join me over there. I hope you guys enjoy the video.